Scientists have been using AI for a couple of months to manipulate people on Reddit. On this subreddit, Change My View. This is a subreddit where people give some usually political beliefs, and people in the comments are gonna argue with them to change their view or to argue against their beliefs. You can see here. In this video, I will try to be unbiased and present both arguments in the best faith, both of Reddit mods and the researchers. And I also invite you to give your arguments, but not angry surface level arguments, but thought out arguments. It's strictly forbidden to use AI to write these arguments and counter arguments. However, this group of, was it students or scientists, because I don't see any names here, they've been using AI to show that AI is a lot more persuasive than humans. Now, Reddit is threatening legal action against this university. However, I think it's absolutely useless. There are probably already many bots or people using AI to write arguments and counter arguments on Reddit and everywhere else. Just suing one university will do nothing. So as a society, we need to come up with better solutions against AI, misinformation and disinformation, whatever. Now, the problem there is also who decides what's misinformation, what's disinformation, because usually whoever decides on that, their decision will closely match with their political views, and other people will not agree with them. So the solution for this that I see is, just like we have many different news outlets and we listen from different news from all entire spectrum, and we create our own opinions based on all of the information, the same way we're gonna think more critically and read the different people, different news, different content, and form our own opinions by critically thinking about what we read. I don't really see a way for banning of AIs in writing this comment. It's not possible. It's not gonna happen. So suing anybody and trying to ban AI, it's not gonna work. People are probably using AIs in secret, and there is no way to even track that, because I can just go and talk to the AI and tell it to give me all of its arguments and then write the arguments in my words. And there is no way to know if I used AI or I read the books myself. Then mods, they banned all of the AI accounts and they made this lengthy post. I will summarize it for you. So basically, mods said that it's forbidden to use AIs and they would have declined if they were asked, but they were not even asked by these researchers. So while I can understand what mods are saying, you need to all understand that this is going to happen by everybody and you cannot control this, and you need to live with this. You cannot make people not use AI. You cannot ban AI from a subreddit from anywhere. So this is a big problem that we all need to discuss, because AI is going to be used. It's not going to be possible to stop it. You have a right to know about this experiment, of course. So my prediction is that there will be a lot more arguments on the internet like this, and we have to have these discussions. So on one hand, we have to have them. On the other hand, it's pretty hopeless to try to ban AI. I don't know. And then I really like the message by the university researchers to the Reddit mods of this subreddit, saying, over the past few months, we've been creating these AI bots to change opinions of the people on the subreddit. We manually reviewed all of the comments. The comments were fully created by AI, but we read them to make sure they are not harmful or hateful. They recognized that they broke the rules of the subreddit, where it says that AI generated content must not be used here on this subreddit to change opinions of the people. And they also apologized for that. But given the importance of this topic, they decided to break the rules and conduct this, what they say to be a very important experiment. And I do believe that this is a good thing that they created this experiment, because number one, mods of this Reddit and this subreddit, there is absolutely no way they can prevent use of AI. Was it AI directly writing the answer and somebody copy pasting it, or somebody just paraphrasing or learning from AI? So these are different degrees of AI usage in this subreddit, but there is no way to prevent them. There is also no way to police how people are using AI. You cannot even say like you can use AI for the 50% of your argument, or you can use for the minor facts, major facts. Even if the rules are very clear, there is no way to enforce them. AI is going to happen. And addressing this problem as early as possible, researching it, learning about it as early as possible is the best case scenario for even this subreddit and everybody else, as opposed to just writing some rules and then getting angry at whoever we figure out that's using AI. But everybody or a lot of people will be using AI, and there is no way that these people will even know that they are using AI. One idea to mitigate this problem is to allow AI generated content and to tell the users to say how much AI they used, because they are going to use AI, and if you say it's fully forbidden, they will just use it in secret and nobody will know that they used AI and how much they used it. So tell the users to fully disclose how much and how they used AI to generate the content or to learn from AI, because that's gonna happen anyways. And I believe that if people are allowed to use AI and disclose that, then they will in good faith disclose how much they used AI. And I believe that these experiments would also disclose, but if the experiment is about how much non-disclosed AI generated content is influencing, then they wouldn't disclose it either. So I can see a bit of anger, maybe even justifiably, by the mods of this subreddit using terms like psychological manipulation of the original posters of their subreddit. So indicating that AI generated content was psychological manipulation, but this is a bit of just anger speaking, because then the content was same as humans writing the content, so I guess then humans would also be psychologically manipulating. Or maybe they claim that it's only if AI writes the content that it's psychologically manipulating, but what if human is using AI to inform themselves? Is it then psychologically? I don't know. So this is just a bit of angry language here. Now mods made a really good reference here. So they reference to a research done by OpenAI, where OpenAI did the same thing, the same testing, but in a lot more ethical way. So they also used content from this subreddit, but instead of posting and directly to the people who are actively and changing their mind, they just collected all of the posts and replies and then had separate people rank persuasiveness of human generated content and AI generated content. And they found out that AI content is more persuasive. So mods claim, which I agree with them, that that is more ethical way to conduct this experiment. Because in OpenAI's experiment, there was no AIs presenting themselves as humans, which is a bit manipulative. But nevertheless, I still think that this is going to happen. The way these researchers did this experiment, it's going to happen that way. And the fact that they did it will just cast the light on this area that we choose to ignore, that we choose to pretend like it's not going to happen. Like people are not going to use AI to generate content or comments on either this subreddit or other subreddits and Twitter and everything. So I respect these mods defending their subreddit and the users and doing a great job. However, this research is more about a lot bigger problem than just this subreddit, and they showed the biggest problem a little bit at the expense of the subreddit. So these mods are doing a great job defending their users, their subreddit. However, the research is justifiably or unjustifiably has shown a lot bigger problem we have with undetectable persuasive AI content, a little bit at the expense of this subreddit. So did the researchers do a good thing at the expense of somebody, at the sacrifice of somebody? One could argue that by doing this, they prevented a lot more harm in the future if we start talking about this early. So it's a messy problem. On the other hand, doing research that's potentially going to be beneficial in the future by their judgment and other people's judgment at the expense of somebody, that's a bit sketchy also. I do think that mods are in a really difficult situation where they are trying to protect their community, but the problem in front of them is a bit impossible because there is no way to even detect, especially enforce not using AI. Psychological manipulation risks posed by LLMs is an extensively studied topic. It is not necessary to experiment on non-consenting human subjects. So this is well said. I agree with this. But I have to add that the real thing this experiment did is show that you cannot detect AI, and you cannot detect AI arguments or AI psychological manipulation, how they phrase it. I don't know if that's so. LLMs were also provided by scraped information about the users, gender, age, ethnicity, location, and political orientation, as inferred from their posting history using another LLM. So they were scraping. So this is a really, I don't know what you all think about this. So it is done at the expense of some people to show the greater harm that could be caused. So I don't know. I'm personally holding it at 50-50 right now. Who's right, mods versus researchers? It's a very complex topic. I mean, it's easy to see why it's not good to do research on unconsenting people, but I want to give you an argument on the other side as well. Imagine we don't do any of this research, and then all of a sudden there is like very unpopular guy wins elections, and then we realize, and it's too late. So it's easy to get angry on the researchers right now. Oh my God, they did this, they scraped information. But what if that happens on a large scale, like countrywide election environment? And we have forbidden universities to come up with ideas, researcher solutions to this by suing them. And then it hits us like a truck later. And this paper will spark a lot of debate as to both the problem of undetectable AI and the problem of doing AI research on unconsenting, unknowing people for the possible benefit of preventing a lot bigger disaster maybe in the future. And this is, I believe, the main problem this subreddit has. Allowing publication of this research paper would dramatically encourage further intrusion by researchers. I don't think so. I think if mods say clearly that they don't want it, I think researchers will respect it. But if they are right, then also contributing to increased community vulnerability to future non-consensual human subject experimentation. Human subject. It is a little bit of an anger bait, non-consensual human subject experimentation. But besides this, I would say if mods write it like this, I think researchers will respect it and they will not conduct research on this subreddit in this way, or maybe other subreddits either. So I think there is a little risk of this kind of situation or research or AI generated bots content repeating on this subreddit or other subreddit, because it's very rare. 5 years ago, if you remember, when GPT-3 came out, everybody was thinking, oh my God, internet will be flooded with misinformation, disinformation. But today, I think most people would say that the biggest source of whatever misinformation and disinformation is, I don't know what that is even, but are humans and news outlets and maybe journalists who are biased or who are paid. So it stayed as before if you think about it. So on one hand, it's really been 5 years for this kind of problem to emerge. People in 2020 would predict that this would be a lot more common, a lot would happen everywhere. So maybe it's not as scary as it sounds, like AI generated persuasive content everywhere. However, in the future, that might be the case because as AI gets smarter, so maybe in 5 to 10 years, I don't know. I personally do see the problems that mods are pointing out, but I also think like it's so hopeless, it's gonna happen anyways. I'm also curious to know how much of the content is generated by AI, how many of the arguments on this subreddit are currently given by the AI, even if they are rewritten by humans. I don't know, maybe only a few. I would guess that it's only a few. So how much risk does AI pose? I don't know. How much are people willing to use it? I'm not sure. But I do think there is a lot of good people who will disclose. If you tell them disclose, then they will disclose. or they will not use, but that's a bit of a more of a demand. That's it. Thank you for watching. I hope to present this in kind of unbiased way and present both sides of the argument in the best faith so you all can understand. And see you in the next video.